What is up, and welcome back to another episode of Blood and Beer, the show where we talk blood sport and we drink beer. I'm your host, Matt, and as always, we got some blood sport to talk. We got some beer to drink. Today, we're talking Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk 2. We're doing a preview of the card, and then we're also going to be looking at Conor McGregor possibly fighting Logan Paul. I'll give you all the information you need to know on that as well. But first, before we get into all that, the beer we're sipping on, once again, derived from the root of a plant, root beer. Alright, so mug is better than A and W. A lot of carbonation in there, goodness. Mug is better than A and W, not better than Barks. But yeah, this weekend we got Alexander Usyk taking on Tyson Fury in a rematch of their split decision that saw Alexander Usyk come away with the W in May this year. And these are the best two heavyweights in the world. This is the matchup to make. There's really nobody on these guys' level at this time. They've both ran through the heavyweight division in their own way. And, for this card, it's taking place in Saudi Arabia. Riyadh season. Turkey Al-Sheikh's been throwing awesome cards together all year. And the first fight, like I said, split decision. Alexander Usyk won it, but it was close. I thought Usyk clearly won it. He dropped Fury in it. He had him hurt bad in the 9th round, almost had the fight stopped. Tyson Fury, though, he is just about impossible to put away. And they did the grand arrivals yesterday for the Riyadh season card where all the fighters show up on planes and they walk down these elaborate staircase, whatever. Tyson Fury is absolutely locked in. He hasn't seen his wife in 3 months, nor his kids. He hasn't seen his dad in 3 months. He's been locked away in Malta training. Goodness. Locked away in Malta training, just completely locked in. In the interviews he's done, he gives real short answers. He's not this jovial, happy guy that he's been in the past. He's just like an assassin, very matter of fact. He is completely focused for this fight. He knows the challenge at hand with Alexander Usyk, who might be the pound-for-pound best in the world right now. And for Usyk, he's the same guy he's always been, focused but not too serious. He's kind of joking around all the time, but he knows the task at hand. It's going to be a fun matchup. Now, the first fight was for the undisputed heavyweight championship. The first fighter, it was going to be the first time it was united since Lennox Lewis had it in the early 2000s. And this fight's not for the undisputed championship because the IBF stripped Alexander Usyk, which is just dumb as shit because if you have someone that's clearly the top of the sport, you're going to strip them because you don't want them to unify the belt or you want to pick this challenger over who everyone sees the best fighter as. That's the problem with boxing, is there's too many governing bodies that want you to go too many different ways. It's hard to find out who the best is, but we were able to find that out with Alexander Usyk defeating Tyson Fury in the first one. With Fury being locked in, though, there's some keys to victory. I think that Fury could get it done. I'm not sure who's taking it. I'm just excited for the fight. The first one was a fight of the year contender if it wasn't for Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano on the Netflix card with Jake Paul. But Tyson Fury, keys to victory here. This guy needs to use his size. He's massive individual. He needs to lean on Usyk, make him carry his weight, tire him out. He needs to pop the jab in his face constantly when they're at range. He has a lot more reach than Usyk. And if you just keep that jab peppering in his face, don't let him see. Just keep him flustered, keep him uncomfortable. That hides the right hand that you can bring in after you just barrage him with jabs. I think that's what's going to be the key to victory for Fury. Work the body also. We've seen Usyk susceptible to body shots in the past with the Daniel Dubois fight. He got hurt to the body pretty bad. They say it was a low blow, but we all saw it. It wasn't a low blow. For Usyk, though, he's got a pretty clear path to victory. He makes this a boxing match. Make him match you skill for skill, a match of technicians. He's super technical. His inside work is nasty. Once he gets on the inside, he can work the body. He can hit uppercuts, and then he can separate and hit you with a straight right at range. He's got it all. He's got to counter Fury's jab. It's going to be tough because Fury's so long. But he's got to duck that jab, get inside, work the body. I mean, this is Usyk's fight to lose. Usyk's the favorite. Most people, I think, assume Usyk's going to win, but Fury has this fucking spirit in him. He got knocked out by Wilder and stood up at the last second to go on and carry it to a draw and then defeat Deontay Wilder the next two times they fought. With Usyk, that fight, he had Fury hurt. Fury kept going on after he got hurt, though. Finishes the fight, split decision. And then Voller fight, the Volin fight, Otto Volin. Fury had this nasty cut on his head, and the fight could have been stopped. He could have lost his belt in a tune-up fight, but this dude recognized what was going on. Something clicked in his head, and he's like, all right, got to make it nasty. Lean on this guy. Beat him up on the inside. Don't let him cut me open. He has this killer mentality, and I think Usyk does too. I mean, he fought in the Ukraine-Russian war. This dude's been dominant at cruiserweight. He was a unified champion at cruiserweight, and now he's a unified champion at heavyweight, or he was. So it's going to be a great fight. Like I said, Turki Al-Sheikh just pulling out all the stops. These cards that he's been putting together have been amazing, and that doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. I'm loving what he's doing for boxing and MMA on a lower scale. I see a lot of boxing and MMA media members, though, they're worried about all the fights being taken over to Riyadh season, and I don't think they're all being taken over there, but they are moving a lot of the big fights over there, especially with boxing. And they say, it's just not the same when it's not over here in America. But here in America, the fans weren't showing up because boxing lost the support because they weren't making good fights. The promoters don't want to pay for it. The people that do want to pay for it, Saudi Arabia. So I have no problem with this. If they're fighting in Saudi Arabia, as long as it's on our time zone or somewhat close to it that they scheduled this for, I wasn't planning on going to the fights anyways. I'm going to watch it on my couch. Put the biggest fights together with that Saudi money. I absolutely love this. Goodness gracious. And then we're going to move on to Conor McGregor not calling out. He says he's in preliminary talks to fight Logan Paul in an exhibition boxing match. He says he's been speaking with the Ambani family, which is a super rich family in India. If you remember over the summer, they had a wedding that lasted for months. They paid Justin Bieber. They paid Rihanna to come out and do concerts. They're paying them millions and millions of dollars to be there. This family's the richest family in Asia. So they have the money to front this bill. Conor tweets out that they're doing it, but Conor tweets out a lot of shit. So we got to kind of unwind this a little to see, is it really something that's possible? And I do think it is. Now, Logan hasn't come out and said anything yet, but when you look at their contracts, both guys, yeah, they're under contract. WWE for Logan Paul, UFC for Conor McGregor. But with that, they're both owned by TKO, so that's something they can easily work around where, it's owned by the same brand. They're going to be, that's not a problem. So the contract's a non-issue. Next thing, UFC hasn't said anything yet. They haven't come out and said, yeah, this is what's happening. But what we do know is at the post-fight press conference after the last UFC event, Dana White said he started working on something that none of you fuckers would see coming. You guys wouldn't fucking see it coming, he said. So, could this be it? I doubt it. I don't think this is what he was referring to. I think it was the Jones-Aspinall thing. I could be wrong, though. I mean, crazier things have happened. This is going to be a lot easier to put together than the Showtime fight with Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. They had a lot of things, a lot of hurdles to get through with that. Not near as many hurdles with this. And one thing that might give you hope that this fight will happen if you want it to happen is Jake Paul came out and tweeted that Conor McGregor's been desperately reaching out to MVP Promotions to set up a fight with Jake Paul, a boxing match. He said he won't fight him in boxing or MMA unless the UFC is at the table or says that it's okay. They're not gonna waste their time unless they get the UFC sign off, which makes sense. But that's Jake Paul. Logan, he's under. It's going to be a lot easier for him. I don't know. It might happen. I mean, you look at it, it doesn't look good if he keeps coming back to the UFC and losing. If he goes out there and knocks out Logan Paul, who's not a very good boxer, it looks a lot better for the UFC. And the UFC finally has their one up on the Paul brothers, who's just been destroying former champion after former champion. So, with that being said, this fight is a huge fucking draw if it happens. I mean, so much money is going to be made. It's going to be pay-per-view or on Netflix. Who knows? I would lean more towards the pay-per-view because ESPN and UFC are together. They do the pay-per-view model, and the Ambani family is tied in with Star Plus, I think it's what it's called, but it's the Asian version of Disney. They're part of the Disney umbrella, so it all wraps up to, ESPN owned by Disney, Star Plus. They'd probably do the pay-per-view, but that would sell so much. That would sell so much. I mean, everybody's tuning in because you have people from all walks of life. The casuals who are going to tune in because they hear Conor McGregor's fighting. Your regular fans of Logan Paul, they're going to tune in who don't even watch fights or combat sports, but they like Logan Paul. Those are two huge crowds just there. Then you have all the MMA fans that want to see Conor McGregor get this back. Even though it's not versus Jake Paul, it's versus Logan. Get this back for the MMA community. And if you're not rooting for either guy, you're tuning in to see someone get knocked out. And both these guys are just so universally hated. So many people are going to tune in just to see one of them get knocked out. So this is a win-win-win. I don't know how it's going to be put together, if it will. I mean, anything's possible with all this influencer boxing we have going on today. It's an exhibition bout also, so weird rules, probably agreement not to knock each other out and look bad. But yeah, it's something to keep an eye on. I mean, I'm not saying I think this fight will happen, but it definitely could. The pathway's there. I just laid it out for you. Ultimately, we're not going to know anything until Dana White says something because Conor McGregor seems coked out of his fucking mind right now. Big fan of his fighting. Not big fan of what he does outside of the octagon. But yeah, he seems a little booger sugared up, if you know what I mean. He's riding that rocket fuel. But that's what I got for you. Quick little run through the news. Boxing show today. All boxing, hardly any MMA talk. So thank you for tuning in. This has been Matt with Blood and Beer.